Does everyone feel like time is going a lot faster than it used to? I mean, I don't know about you guys, but 2025 feels like it's just been flying by. It feels like the year just started and all of a sudden we're halfway through it. So I don't really know where the time went, but here we are. On the bright side though, as time passes, new music comes. We've had a lot of great releases over the last 3 months, as well as just a bunch of great discoveries of old songs that I've been sleeping on. So today, I'm going to talk about what's been in my rotation for the last 3 months, and hopefully you can find 1 or 2 songs to add to yours. This is the Quarterly Review. Alright, just like we did last time, we are going to start off with new albums and EPs that got released over the last 3 months. Last time I did 5 albums in each of these categories. I'm going to stick with just 3 today, I just haven't really listened to as much. I've been kind of slacking, guys, not gonna lie. But one album that really caught my attention over the last 3 months was the newly released Sunrise City, the debut album of Subradio. Subradio has a certain charm that you don't really see nowadays in artists. Pair that with a blossoming internet presence and a unique indie pop rock sound, and you get an incredible debut album in the form of Sunrise City, an anthemic and upbeat collection of songs that you won't be able to help but sing along to. If you've never heard of Subradio or haven't listened to any of their songs, I think the best way I can describe them is blending those indie rock sounds from the 1975 or Wallows with the kind of upbeat peppiness of something like Good Kid. Either way, they're very much worth your time if you want to take a listen, and genuinely, I think this album is so peppy and fun, and I really think that anyone can find one positive thing to say about Sunrise City. My top songs are Pink Lemonade, Burden, and Pretty Boy. But honestly, I don't even know how to choose. It was like choosing between favorite kids at that point. So Sunrise City, go check it out. Now let's stay in that sort of pop rock-ish territory for a moment, and let's talk about another debut album, Knox's Going, Going, Gone. Everyone likes a little bit of pop here and there, right? No? Just me? I'm the only one? Alright, well screw you. Either way, I hear Knox is pretty popular with kids right now, and his debut album is a prime example of that. I think sometimes his songwriting has the tendency to become a little corny and on the nose, breaking past diminishing returns at some times. But beyond that, the music is pretty solid. I love me a good Dan Swank produced record. Wait, did Dan Swank produce this one? Hold on. I love me a good Dan Swank produced record / collection of songs. You've probably heard Dan Swank on a bunch of these other projects too. So if you like those, chances are you're gonna like this project a bit too. If there's one thing Knox is good at, it's writing a catchy tune. It doesn't take long for any of these songs to get stuck in your head. My top songs from the record are Going, Going, Gone, 50/50, and Head First. And to close out our new albums and EPs for this time, we're gonna touch back to one that I was actually anticipating in the last video. We're gonna talk about Sweet Part 1 by Mayday Parade. My understanding is that this is part 1 of a triple album from Mayday Parade, and the hype from By the Way did not go to waste whatsoever. Holy cow. Sweet came out swinging for an amazing part 1, and it's crazy to me that so many old school pop punk outfits can still sound so fresh and polished and diverse after 20 years of being a band. But Mayday Parade is no exception to that rule. They legitimately sound just as good as they did on A Lesson in Romantics, which to me is just crazy. I don't even know how you accomplish that, but Mayday Parade does it. Top songs from Sweet Part 1 include By the Way, Who's Laughing Now, and Natural, but there really isn't a skip on this thing. Go binge the entire thing and then the rest of their discography. It's pretty solid. Now, we've got 3 old albums to talk about. As you all know, I listen to a new album every single Monday, and I also sprinkle a few in here and there throughout the weeks. And we've got some good ones over the past few months. So let's start with probably the one I've been listening to the most, which is A Nice Place to Visit by Goody Grace. Now, I'm not necessarily a stranger to Goody Grace or this album. My brother introduced me to the artist probably 4 or 5 years ago at this point. I'm incredibly fond of his 2021 album, Don't Forget Where You Came From, and when this album first came out last year, I gave it a shot and thoroughly enjoyed it, but it took me a while to actually go back and start regularly listening to more of these songs. What I discovered once I finally did go back and listen to it again was a kind of crazy sensation of falling in love with this album all over again. I don't really know much of Noah Kahan. I hear a little bit of Stick Season every now and again, but my guess is if you're kind of a fan of that kind of folksy alternative style, kind of like what Shawn Mendes did on his last album, you're really gonna like this one. I strongly recommend you check it out. My top songs are Eveline, People Are Like All Over, and Numb, but there really isn't a bad song on this thing. You need to check it out. In terms of an album I've checked out a lot more recently than A Nice Place to Visit, let's talk about something that was completely new to me until a few weeks ago, Knuckle Puck's Shapeshifter. Now look, I know this is gonna be a hot take. Copacetic is not my favorite Knuckle Puck album. I really was not a fan of this record. It sort of turned me off from listening to the artist any more than that. That being said, I decided to open the floodgates a little bit last year with Losing What We Love, and even when that was a step up for me, it still took a few months to get back into the rhythm of trying out Knuckle Puck. At the end of the day though, I am very glad I did, because Shapeshifter was an absolute delight to indulge in. Knuckle Puck is quintessential pop punk, and Shapeshifter is a great example of that, and I'm just sorry it took me so long to realize that fact. If you haven't tried out Knuckle Puck, or you didn't really like Copacetic that much, just like I did, don't sleep on them, try out Shapeshifter, I think you'll find something to enjoy. My personal top songs from this album are Want Me Around, Gone, and Double Helix, but there are plenty of bangers on there, you will not be bored, trust me. And the last one, and one that I probably have the least to say about, but felt necessary to include, was Starboy by The Weeknd. The Weeknd is one of those artists that I'm very on and off about. I usually don't go out of my way for full projects from Abel. It really is just kind of like scattered songs here and there. But with so much hype behind The Weeknd and 2016 Starboy, I figured it was about time to give it a shot. And I'm pretty glad I did. I feel like I have a way better understanding of why people enjoy The Weeknd so much. This is just solid again. I haven't gone back to this album too much. I don't have that much to say about it necessarily. I just figured I would mention it because I was having trouble thinking of a third album. Top songs for me are probably Die For You, Love to Lay, and yeah, Starboy. Now, I feel like I didn't have a lot to say about all of these albums because the last 3 months have been incredibly single heavy for me. I've been listening to a lot of individual songs as opposed to fully composed albums or projects. So let's talk about some individual songs, starting with Baggy Jeans from the band Camino. Now, to say I was feeling lukewarm towards the band Camino's sophomore album, 2023's The Dark, would be an understatement. While it had its fair share of picturesque moments, that is just every band Camino album at this point, and its lows were pretty low. There are songs on The Dark that I don't really have any desire to ever listen to again. As a result, I've been approaching these new singles with a healthy dose of skepticism, and for the most part, they have been pretty satisfying, I won't lie. While Infinity was a solid opening to this new release cycle, it sort of pales in comparison to Baggy Jeans, at least for me. Baggy Jeans has got this clever, rhythmic chorus that I can't help but sing and dance along to. I don't want to make any premature statements, but guys, I think the band Camino is back. This single has, oh my god, I love it so much. Let's take a sharp left turn into metalcore. Post-hardcore? Metal? What genre is Dayseeker? I can't get a clear answer on this. Either way, Dayseeker is sort of similar to The Weeknd in that I never really go out of my way for entire projects from them. It's always just singles here and there. Whatever they put into this new single, Pale Moonlight, though, oh my god. The single is so good. I don't know if scary or haunting are the right words to describe this single, but they're certainly some of the first that come to mind. To me, Pale Moonlight is the perfect blend of angsty aggression and beautiful melodies that I love to see in metal and post-hardcore. Rory Rodriguez really is that guy, pal.
You're that guy, pal. Trust me. You're that guy.
Now let's talk about an underrated track from a staple pop-punk act, Simple Plan's Boom. This is probably one of Simple Plan's cornier songs, but I think it balances the cuteness with the satisfying release of pressure with these guitar and drum drops. Also, those bows get stuck in your head pretty quick, at least for me, so it's got the catchy factor there too. And while I can definitely see how this song would be a miss for most, especially longtime Simple Plan fans, and just hardcore pop punk fans in general, Boom is a banger in my books, and you're not going to convince me otherwise. Staying in the realm of pop punk for a moment, let's talk about someone who has already been talked about in this video, Knuckle freaking Puck. They're back. Want Me Around has been my top song for about the past month and a half, and I have no shame in admitting that because there's a good reason. This song is the one that swayed me to check out Shapeshifter in the first place, and all I can say is that I wish I had more appreciation for this artist when I saw them open for state champs. We live and we learn. At the end of the day, we still have all this music. Want Me Around is a banger, and if you're not checking it out, you are wasting your time. That's crazy. This is like the Knuckle Puck sweep. Between Shapeshifter and the feature on Mayday Parade and now Want Me Around, that's 3 appearances in the video. I think that's a new record. So shout out Knuckle Puck. Give me your mailing address if you have one, and I'll send you a gold sticker for making an appearance 3 times in this video. All right, we're gonna take another sharp pivot away from pop punk, and this time we are talking about 21 Pilots and their demo of Doubt. You guys know I love this song if you've seen the 21 Pilots video, and while I think I would still choose to listen to the full polished song over the demo, this track is still a really cool look in 21 Pilots' history and creative process. I'll also give the demo track credit for just getting me back into the regular version of Doubt, so that's pretty cool. Doubt's solid. It's a solid song, and you're never gonna convince me to hate it. It's just too good. Alright, moving on. While the majority of the singles for the Somerset's upcoming release haven't really swayed me or excited me that much, the one that has by far is Adidas. Yes, it's corny, yes, it's on the nose, but I think that sort of adds to the novelty of the song. I'm still waiting on a good upbeat song for this record, kind of something like Chelsea or Street Lightning that really just kind of gets us pumping and running, but Adidas is good enough for now. It's good enough to hold me over until this record comes out. Alright, let's talk about an up-and-comer. If your Instagram feed is anything like mine, you end up with a lot of independent, small artists trying to make it big. And one of those who I've been following pretty closely for the last few months is this girl named Nicole Alexis. She makes this kind of cool, grunge, pop rock inspired music. It's unlike anything I've ever heard. And one of her latest singles, Jamie I Can Taste It, has been at the top of my rotation for the last few months. Like I said, Jamie I Can Taste It is one of her newest songs, which is an upbeat and lively track despite its desperate and pleading tone. The song's got a pumping instrumental, a great vocal performance, it's mixed incredibly. I don't think I have enough great things to say about the song. It is just really solid, and if you like this one, I think you're also gonna like Find Another You, Shades of Blue, and Take Me Home. So make sure you check out her other songs too. Let's make sure we're still supporting independent artists out there. Arrows in Action recently released side A of their forthcoming album, I Think I've Been Here Before, and while I want to wait to review that album until the entire thing is out, I did want to talk about my favorite new song from that release, which is Celebration. Assuming that this is going to be the opening track of the complete record and not just side A, Celebration is a pretty good start to the new era. Celebration is cathartic and fun, and it's a good reminder to celebrate whenever you overcome whatever bullshit is weighing you down, because at the end of the day, you deserve to celebrate that. If there's any one song that I latched onto over the last 3 months, if I had to pick a favorite track from the last 3 months, it is Honey Revenge's newest single, Risk. The first time I listened to this song, I thought I had queued up the wrong thing, because for a moment, the intro of Risk feels so Eurythmics, or like something straight out of the 80s. I love how distinct this song is from anything else that Honey Revenge has ever done, with all these retro synths and pumping adrenaline-filled bass lines. I'm desperately hoping that this is the start of a new album cycle for Honey Revenge, and if the other songs on this hypothetical record are anything like Risk, holy cow, this is like album of the year material. And of course, elephant in the room, yeah, we're gonna talk about the contract. I initially wasn't planning on including this song in this video, just for the sake that it is so new and I haven't had a lot of time to ingest it. So I forced myself to ingest it a lot, to the point where now it's one of my top songs for the last month. But holy cow, I cannot tell you just how good this track is. This is something that I feel like you really just need to experience yourself. Not only are the lore implications great, picking up immediately where Paladin Strait left off, but they nailed the tone on this song so good. It's dark and dismal and fast-paced. I just can't tell you how excited I am for Breach now if this is the first bite of what we're getting. So yeah, contract's great. And to round things off, let's talk about some upcoming releases that I am excited for. Entry 1 is sort of a weird pick because it's not really a formal album. It's a tribute album for Blurryface arranged by Rock Sound. While there are a ton of artists I'm excited to see create their own versions of these songs like Arrows in Action, As December Falls, and Red Jumpsuit Apparatus, there are so many others that I've never listened to, and I have no prediction of what ways these tracks can go. Either way, I'm incredibly excited to listen to a whole new variety of Blurryface songs, especially for a chance for me to appreciate some of these songs more. I'm looking at you, Polarize. Now, I was initially planning on talking about the home team's newest single, Worthy, in the singles section, but I didn't really end up with the time. So now we're going to talk about their upcoming release of The Crucible of Life Deluxe. While I initially wasn't too fond of The Crucible of Life when it came out last year, I gotta say it has really grown on me over the last few months. Needless to say, I'm looking forward to checking out these other bonus tracks as soon as they're out. They're out, by the way. Didn't know that till last night. Bonus tracks are cool. I didn't realize there was going to be an Arrows in Action feature, so that was a very pleasant surprise. Back to pop punk for a second. The Goats are back and here to stay. Yellowcard's first album in 8 years comes out this October. While I wasn't so fond of Childhood Eyes from 2 years ago, and I certainly could do without another Travis Barker project that isn't Blink-182, the singles for Better Days are pretty promising, and there's no such thing as too much violin, so I'm going to be going in with an open mind. Also, I'm really excited for that Avril feature. I think that's got some real promise. Now, if you're not on Hot Milk yet, what are you waiting for? 2023's A Call to the Void is imaginative and cinematic in all the perfect ways, and the singles leading up to this new record, Corporation POP, have been incredibly solid so far. It's also been kind of crazy watching their sound over the years just gradually get heavier. I mean, we started with Candy Coated Lies and Wide Awake, and now we got like Over Your Dead Body and Horror Show, and all these new songs. It's safe to say I am so excited to see what Hot Milk cooks up next week. And of course, the final anticipated release we need to talk about is Breach. Yeah, you knew this was coming. What would be one of the most cryptic release cycles for any other artist has been pretty tame by 21 Pilots standards. Regardless, I'm itching to see how the story of Trench and Clancy comes to a close. If Clancy is my Avengers Infinity War, Breach will be my Avengers Endgame. Nothing can prepare me for what's to come. And yeah, that's it. That is the last quarter of the year in review. I hope you found something new to listen to, or I hope we have some similar music tastes. Either way, let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Now, if you'll excuse me, I am going to go watch the Warped Tour live stream, because apparently they're live streaming a bunch of the artists on Twitch, and I would really like to watch some of that. So I'm going to just have that on the side while I'm editing this video. Okay. See you in the pit.